Good evening, everybody. My name's Terry Fenwick, and it's an absolute pleasure being alongside Lasana Liebird at Wired 868. Looking forward to having a few words tonight with Lasana.
Are you ready? Go! Are you ready for a good time? Then get ready for the nightlife.
Win a 55-inch 4K HD Smart LED TV. Spell the word Coke for a chance to win. You can win other amazing prizes every week.
Are you ready for a good time?
Okay, Terry, tell me what football means to you.
Football, as you probably know, back in the UK, it's bigger than religion. People like myself have come out of working class backgrounds. My town of Seaham Harbour was surrounded by 3 coal collieries, pits, and unless you had a talent, you worked down the mine, went down the mines, down the pits, and it wasn't very nice. And football was what got me out of that, and so many kids from my area tried to get through the CM channels to get into professional football, and I was one of the fortunate ones to get through. Football, quite frankly, has been my life. It's something I love to share. I'm developing now after my playing days, and it's wonderful seeing the kids of today coming through to what's a fantastic game. It is now the only sport on the planet, the biggest sport on the planet. You know, it's blowing everything away, and it's just getting better and better all the time.
Tell me those early days, how did you develop to be a professional player?
Well, I came from a very working class background whereby the kids were all good. All the kids in our street, and we played football from morning till night. Before school, after school, during school, whenever you got an opportunity, football was what we've done. And I was playing it, on the streets with some terrific young talents. Some of them much better than I was with the ball. But I just think I had that more commitment. I was very serious about where I wanted to be and how I wanted to do it. And from very early, I was pushing myself as a midfield stroke defender, and technically good, strong, very disciplined. And it was forcing myself all the way up to do the best I possibly could. And I think along the way I bumped into some of the best coaches in youth development. John Cartwright, who's possibly the best youth development coach in Great Britain for many years. Terry Venables, Malcolm Allison were just beyond their, before their time really. Guys that have really made an impact on the British game. That was wonderful coming through them. But I think a lot of my strengths come from my background, the area in which I came from. It was tough, and you needed to be tough and disciplined to get out of there, and it's kept me on the right track throughout my career.
Do you remember what first interested you about football, or how you were introduced to the game in the first place?
Well, recognising that I'm an old boy now, Lasana, and when I was very small, England won the World Cup back in 1996 when the 66, sorry, and that was like blow mind. The whole of the country then, football was on fire. Everybody was out on the street playing it, and it was great for the kids, and that was what really galvanised me to that's where I wanted to be. I looked at the Bobby Charltons and Bobby Moores, these types of players that were brilliant, came across great, and it was a gentleman's game then, and that's what I always wanted to be.
Was there any particular player who was your idol back then?
Bobby Charlton.
What about him?
He was just slick on the ball. He moved the ball so gracefully. He scored thunderbolt goals from 25-30 yards on a regular basis. He was the ideal character. He never got a yellow card. He was one of them great players that if there was a world team, he would have been in it. He was a wonderful centre forward.
No yellow card, you wouldn't have you wouldn't have been like him.
No, not at all.
What about yourself? Was there a player that you ever tried to pattern your game after or so?
I love the guy. This is going back to another World Cup, watching Argentina. Passarella, the centre back, who wasn't the biggest, but he had a great lead, good in the air, very strong in the tackle, distribution was always sharp, lovely left foot. And he was the one really that I sort of looked at and thought that's the type of player I could be. You know, I was disciplined, I was strong in the tackle, I read the game very well. Not the quickest, but I was always a yard in front of everybody, reading the game quicker than most. And he was a great player. When they won the World Cup back in 92, was it?
78.
78, oh my God. You remember all that? He was fantastic throughout that tournament, and that was something that I looked at and thought, wow, that's what I'd like to be.
What memories, stand out for you as a player looking back?
Well, I've got a lot of great memories. I mean, I'm still, I think, the only player to score the only winning goal in back-to-back FA Youth Cup finals. Great memories, because that was always a huge competition. Scoring at Wembley in the cup final, although we went on and lost the replay. Part of the England under-21 side, the first England side to win the European Championships. That was under Dave Sexton and Terry Fenwick. Brilliant. And of course, going on to Mexico World Cup. Memories are unbelievable. I mean, when you look back at Mexico was on the back of the Falklands War, and the pressures that were on us before the game was incredible. We'd spent 2 weeks in Colorado altitude to get prepared for the World Cup. We went down there, we didn't get off to a particularly good start, but we found our feet, started to come through. And then of course we bounced off of Argentina, who, player for player, I think we were the better team, but they had the best player in the world. And of course the hand of God goal, which was actually handball and a free kick to England, started the game off badly for us, and then he scored within 4 minutes. He scores what's still arguably the best goal in World Cup football, while we were all still shell-shocked. So them sort of things over my career have been milestones. I mean, things that I could never forget, incredible experiences. And then on top of all that, I come to the sunny Trinidad and Tobago, and I really enjoy development of young people, young players, bringing them off of the hill and out of the shadows to come and play football, do well for themselves and get outside.
Is there a particular player you're most proud of working with?
Well, I think I'd have to go back to Otis Whitley, who'd done a real solid job for Trinidad and Tobago in the 2006 World Cup. Recognising where he came from, the work that I had to do with him, and it wasn't about his skill sets. He was far better footballer than I would ever be. What a great player. He had everything, and energy to burn, speed, he had everything. But between the ears, he needed work, and he wasn't. And when I got hold of him initially, he was with a kid called Joseph Peters.
Yes.
Guti, yeah. And they were a bad influence on each other, and I had to break them up, and they were both very good players, but Otis was much better than the other. So I had to let one go to focus on the other, and the time and effort that I put into him, we turned him into a very good player over quite a period of time. But that was all about his mentality, getting on top of him, making him serious about his game, more disciplined about football. And I surrounded him with lots of young kids, where he was then the example, which I think he enjoyed. So he produced for the younger kids. I managed him, he managed the younger kids, and the teams that we had went on and were successful.
Going back to the Argentina game, do you remember what instructions you all got before the match, or how you were told to deal with Maradona, for instance?
It was unbelievable, because before that game, recognising this as the quarter final of the World Cup, 115,000 people inside of the Azteca Stadium, billions worldwide watching the game, and we had Sir Burton Millerchip, which was the Minister of Sport, in the dressing room an hour and a half before the game, telling us all the do's and don'ts, what we could and couldn't do because of the problems and issues we'd had with the Falklands War. We can't get into any international incidents and all, everything that had nothing to do with football. But that was the old school tie, the British mentality, that's what it was all about. And he completely overshadowed Sir Bobby Robson, who was a great motivator of men. That was his strength. And Maradona he's only a little fella and he's only got 1 foot.
That's what Robson told you.
That's what Bobby Robson said before. Nah, don't worry about him, he's only a little fella, he's only got 1 foot. But forgetting that he's got the best left foot in the world and possibly the best player ever, he destroyed England that day and probably destroyed my career in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It was like the ball was stuck to his left foot, and it didn't matter what he'd done, it never moved within a foot of his left foot. And he could run at full pace, and it was like little touches, so every time you thought about a tackle, the ball would move again and again, so you couldn't get that chance to go and get the ball and nail him at the same time. It was difficult. But it was I think more than that, it was his enthusiasm about the game. He had no fear at all, it didn't matter. He looked like one of them players that if he was on the savannah or he was in front of 200,000 people, it wouldn't matter to him, it was just a game of football. And he could relax and enjoy it, and he was just, what a player. Couldn't get close to him, great touch, speed, everything on his left foot. Sir Bobby, God bless him, got that one all wrong because he couldn't get near his left foot. But what a player, and I still believe he's the best player we've ever had.
Looking forward to Russia 2018,
Yeah.
I don't have to ask you who you're supporting.
I've got to support my team, haven't I, England, but I think we've actually got a chance to get to the later stages. I think we've got a young squad, average age of 26, young manager, and pushing away all the old boys, the old school tie that the English side are always surrounded with, keeping them at a distance. And we've actually got good players. You know, when you look at the Premier League this year, there's some terrific young English players coming through, and Lingards and players like that, Harry Kane's, they're all top players, and I'm just hoping that they don't freeze. If they play, I think we've got a chance to get into semi-finals, maybe better.
What player you would single out as the weapon for England and why?
The weapon for England, difficult to call this one, but I think the guy that really could turn it around for England is Jamie Vardy, because he's direct, he's double quick, he can't catch him, he upsets the opposition, he doesn't mind tackling back, he's a threat, and Ranieri worked very hard on him at Leicester, and he's kept on them traits that Ranieri put into him. He's always on the half turn, even clearances from the back that are just kicked anywhere, he can be onto them quick, and he's finishing his first class. So I think if he plays alongside Harry Kane, Harry's my actual worry, because he's not done particularly well for England. I think he's a great player. Might be a bit too early to give him that captaincy. But I think with Vardy playing off of him, who's very quick and direct, could help his game as well.
Okay. How do you usually enjoy the World Cup?
I love to see how the teams are playing, see what's different, what's out there, see how players are operating. I'll be particularly interested in how France use Popka, who I think is a great player. But Manchester United haven't got the best out of him. They've not known where to play him to get the best out of him. And I just think this is a big World Cup for France and for him. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they try to manage that situation now. Spain I'm very interested in because I love Diego Costa. I think he's another one of them players. He's like the Passarella at the back. He's the centre forward of the same. He's got that little nasty edge about him, great skill set, scores goals, gets everybody involved in the game. But Spain will be thereabouts, I think, along with Germany. Outside bet could be Belgium. I think they've got a terrific squad if they play. You know, when you look at Hazard and De Bruyne in midfield, Lukaku up front, they've got some terrific talent. But it's making it work through the World Cup. 7 games from start to finish. Not a lot of games. Using your energy out every game, so you're not saving anything. It's pressure, it's media, it's families and all that, because you're running off the phone, people you love, and it's the whole nation's hopes are on your shoulders. So it's a lot of pressure for these guys.
You've been here since 2001, right?
2000 I come here.
2000.
18 years.
Right. You were here, of
Don't
course.
like it, by the way.
You were here, of course, when you got to the World Cup in Germany. What do we need to do to get back to that sort of stage?
Oh, there's a lot of things to be done, but first and foremost we've got to get a proper youth development programme going. That's nationwide. You know, we hear the talk and the talk and the talk about it, but it never happens. And this is over 30 years of Jack Warner, FIFA Vice President. Money's flowing, sponsors all over the place, and we still haven't had the right people to deliver it. And Lasana, when I got here, within 6 weeks of arriving in Trinidad and Tobago, somebody said to me a phrase, crabs in a barrel. And that is so prevalent in football, because where we've got a lot of good people that could do very well and lift the standard of football throughout the country, I think we have got them crabs in a barrel that are keeping everybody else down. For theirs, and what they're not realising is, it's not me, it's not the other coaches, it's the kids that they're hurting. The development is not there, we're not getting it, so we're not getting top players coming through. Our last World Cup campaign, in most games our youngest player was 26. So that is a big disappointment for me, because I see the talent that's on the ground, I see the kids that are trying to make a living out of football, and the administration is killing it for everyone. Pro League under pressure, as you know. National teams pretty much at all levels are struggling, and my God, the time that I've been here, we used to blow away all of the other Caribbean teams. Now we're competing against Guyana and Grenada and Barbados and whoever else, where in the past that was a 5-6, 8-0 whatever, and move on to the next game. That is a disappointment, and that's down to not the kids, not the players, that's down to the administration, management and coaching of the kids.